At this point, I had nearly 45 seconds to make the last throw. I could feel the excitement boiling up. No need to rush, take my time, just line up the throw and throw when I was ready. I let go of Bowser perfectly. I honestly don't think I've ever thrown a straighter Bowser throw in all my life. And then I couldn't believe it. I was actually confused. What the fuck was that? Honestly, I wasn't prepared. I kind of started to panic here as I didn't really know how much time it takes to spin and throw Bowser for the final hit and then collect the final star. Did I have enough time? While grabbing Bowser and spinning him, I kept looking down at the timer to see if I had enough time. Not confident if I needed to YOLO the throw or if I could take my time and try to be accurate. In desperation, I let go. Another miss. With less than 20 seconds left, my chances of sub 20 was surely dead at this point. Defeated, disappointed, and confused, I missed another throw. It's kind of a bittersweet feeling when you get a PB by over 30 seconds, a significant improvement over my last PB, while also knowing that I just had my chance, and I lost it. This was simultaneously one of my biggest wins as a Super Mario 64 speedrunner, and also one of my biggest failures. As time went on, I felt like I had hit a sort of plateau. It was time to bring out the big guns. I needed to consult an oracle, my ace in the hole. My new friend, Cheese, graciously agreed to review my PB to give me some advice on how and where I can improve. Now, I'm incredibly fortunate to be in the position to have one of the best SM64 speedrunners to ever play the game take time out of his busy schedule to review my measly, average, pleb PB run. I was ready and prepared to nervously and excitedly take notes.
Hello, Veritas. I'm looking at your PB. Alright. Nice bomb clip. It was medium bomb, but it works. Medium bomb, large bomb, they both work fine. Okay. Flank push? Does he know about the flank push? He does. Good. He's been doing his studying. You can tell he knows. He knows the flank push setup. I definitely think, Veritas, that you could probably work on optimizing a bit more. Like this star, Wild Blue, for example, you did like pretty safe strats here. But like you could probably easily try to do like the harder strats, you know, to make it a bit faster, to land to the left. Or the best thing that you're doing is focusing on consistency, which is good. If you realize that you've reached a point where you are as consistent as you could be with the strats you're doing, I think that's a good time to kind of start trying to go faster, doing faster strats and trying to work on your speed. So then you could keep improving. A lot of runners, what they do is they get comfortable with their strats. They get to a point where they're very good with their strats and they're consistent, but they don't go the extra mile to then start learning new, faster strats. You got a 6 star? Oh yeah, the owl. Okay. That ground pound is actually bad because the amount of time that Mario takes to activate the ground pound, by that time, if you don't ground pound, Mario's already halfway down. This ground pound is actually slower. Optimizing castle movement is probably something else. It's not hard to optimize castle movement. Like that, the castle movement is
oh god!
It can be improved a lot, I would say. Nice. I mean, I think that was perfectly fine. That was not even much slower than the normal strat. That was good. I love that you put away your microphone. You're like, all right, this is getting serious. Another gold? Damn. No reds, okay. So grabbing that elevator ledge probably will miss you out in 3 or 4 seconds by missing a cycle. Okay, I could tell that you're playing it very safe here, or you're starting to get a little bit nervous. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, please let me not die here. I do not want to lose this run. I got 2 goals in a row. Please, let me just get past this. Yeah. You could tell he's like, yes, thank God. Okay. I mean, it's barely any slower, so I guess that's fine. Oh, quick little tidbit. Quick little teaching strat. If you don't hold A, if you actually hold neutral, it's faster than holding A to go towards the bird. You actually hit the bird faster, not holding A. So you don't actually want to hold A when you're spinning. You want to hold neutral and just go to the direction that you're going. Oh, got the long jump. Oh God! Oh, he's freaking out. You can tell. Okay. Oh God! Have a good night. Oh. I've seen you struggle in this star more than once. Easy fix for this, Veritas. Wall kick more to the left of the wall, so you're closer to the platform. So that was good. That was very YOLO. That second try was really YOLO. I don't know if you know this, Veritas. I'm guessing you do, but this strat is extremely simple. If you just look at the shadow of Mips, as soon as you see Mips' shadow disappear, that is when you drop Mips. That's when you know that when you have to drop her. So there's a lot of parts in your run where I feel like you could easily go faster, but you play it a little bit safe. Like here, for example, going up these stairs, you can like right here, you could probably long jump twice, get up there way faster. Just those little things that you could definitely, all those moments like improving castle movement, going a little bit faster when you can, they're gonna save you a lot of time at the end. I would say you could probably save 30 seconds from just trying to optimize places where you from just doing more long jumps or where you can. Yes, Falco. Og. Wow. Whoa! That was so fucking close. That was close. So I'm guessing you missed throws because with this pipe entry, you could have gotten like a 1930. Before you even do the last throw, the problem with the bomb sequences the bombs that you chose, the bomb sequences or whatever, After the second throw, Bowser is too much in the middle of the stage. And when Bowser is not close enough to any bomb, when he's in the dead center, you can't actually make it to any bombs regardless of how hard you throw. So this is the problem here. Because you're so far in the center, no matter which bomb you throw to, you can't get any of them because Bowser doesn't go far enough. That's why the bomb sequences that you see top runners do, that's really important. You're not going to be able to get any bombs here. Precisely my point. Perfect throw, but you're too far in the center, so you can't get the bomb. Oh no! Alright, so a quick summary. I would say your consistency is not bad for the strats that you do. Even with the strats that you do, at least in this video, just trying to go faster and do more movement things, like more dive rolls where you can work on castle movement, just more optimization. You could save like a minute just from optimizing your movement.
Even with just his one-off impromptu commentary and analysis, Cheese had given me a ton of knowledge to absorb. I'd taken a ton of notes and was inspired to learn more and grind more. This gave me a second wind of sorts. At this point, I took a step back to look at the bigger picture, to recontextualize my latest goals in light of where I was in my progression, and to formulate a plan. Now, it wasn't quite that I hadn't taken this seriously up until this point. That surely wasn't the case. But I was more determined as ever to take this to the next level, and I had two new primary goals. First, I badly needed to speed up and improve the consistency of my movement, everywhere. Now this goes above and beyond merely refining it. Instead, I wanted it to feel more like choreography than skillful improvisation. I wanted to take this run to the next level using muscle memory and instinct, and after 400 attempts, I think it was about time. Now secondly, I needed to learn more about some of the more confounding elements of the run, tricks I didn't understand, and mechanics that seemed inconsistent. This required that I research a number of different topics, do a bunch of testing myself, and ask the right questions from the right people. I had so much more to learn, and as soon as I did, armed with that knowledge, the simple awareness of the thing, I could then transform that knowledge into a broader and deeper understanding. Past a certain point, it's easy to forget that there's always more to learn. We don't know it all. Sometimes the key to progressing is not doing more or doing better, but knowing more and understanding better. One such relevant reminder was given to me the day that I was having a friendly race with my fellow Tarkovian and Mario 64 speedrunner, AquaFPS, who also happened to be on the same exact grind to get sub 20 as me. More on that later. After starting one of the runs on our race, I made an offhand comment. The run's dead. Dude, why does the camera not rotate like 20% of the time when I hit R?
You have to make sure you go through the left door.
No.
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me.
No, yeah, seriously. You have to go through the left door.
How did nobody tell me this, dude?
Well, now you know.
What?
Make sure you go through the left door. Yeah.
What is this fucking knowledge?
I just figured that one out on my own, somehow. But yeah, that's your issue.
I'd been assuming for literally hundreds of runs that the camera not fully rotating after I entered the castle was something like a timing thing, or maybe something I was doing wrong, maybe even it was a bug or an inconsistency with the game. Now this was minor, but it was also an annoying little thing that screwed up the flow in the first few seconds of half of my runs, and was caused by something as simple as which of the two doors Mario entered. How many more of these little pieces of information was I unaware of? What else could I learn? What strategies could I develop to make me a better runner? Let's find out. First things first, I should probably have mentioned earlier that Although I've been running on the original Super Mario 64 cartridge, I've been using a practice version of the game called the USAMUNE Practice ROM, running on my EverDrive, which allows you to load things like ROM hacks and practice ROMs onto an SD card to be played natively on your N64 console. Now, this practice ROM allows for things like save states, level selection, and a lot more. This tool is, hands down, the most valuable tool that Super Mario 64 speedrunners have. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to leave a link in the description with details on the practice ROM, as well as recommend you check out Drogi's practice ROM quick start guide here if you want more details. He makes some great guides you should check out. Nevertheless, I wanted to mention this before I went any further because it made all of this testing and analysis possible. Alright, starting with Cannonless. This trick had been broken down in a million tutorials that I had watched, but for me was still not 100%. It wasn't until I took the time to science it out myself and do some more thorough testing, answering the unanswered questions in my head that most guides glossed over, that it took my understanding to the next level. I had logically broken down the setup for Cannonless into 8 discrete elements. First, the wall ledge grab. Second, getting up from the ledge. Third, the backflip. Fourth, the first camera adjustment. Fifth, the punch. Sixth, the plank ledge grab. Seventh, the second camera adjustment. And 8, the dismount. Now, each of these elements had ways for me to do them faster than I was currently doing them, but I'd need to be more confident about the purpose of each element and how vital the order and timing was for each. The rate at which I was failing Cannonless on the first try, even though the setups all felt and looked okay, meant either the setup wasn't as consistent as everybody claimed, or I wasn't as consistent as I thought. Occam's razor told me that the latter was much more likely. What was I doing differently when I failed? Perhaps I was hesitating on elements of the trick that had no negative impact on its success, while at the same time rushing other aspects that did. After analyzing a few cases of each and comparing it to other runners at similar skill levels as well as those who were better than me, I came to a few conclusions to the best of my current understanding. Firstly, I was able to improve the first 2 elements of the setup in a couple different ways. Now, as mentioned briefly by Cheese during his analysis earlier, you can do what's called the plank push to normalize Mario's position before the ledge grab. Although in my case this was often slow and clumsy because you needed very small, subtle movements with the analog stick, something that I still wasn't amazing with, and I found I would tend to undercompensate to avoid running off of the ledge entirely, which would lose me a bunch of time. After taking note of Mario's resulting position after a successful plank push and ledge grab, I tried to burn that into my brain. I began to see if I could skip the plank push entirely and develop an approach that I personally felt comfortable with that was faster and just as consistent. What I ended up with was this jump directly into the ledge grab, getting a good feel for when the lineup was good and when it needed adjustment, and it was working well. Now, it's worth mentioning that Cannonless, being one of the first tricks I learned when first getting into SM64 speedrunning, was also one of the things I noticed later on in my progression that still had vestiges of my lack of confidence and understanding of the basic mechanics of the game. Simple things like climbing up after a ledge grab. When I first learned the trick, I'd been using up on the analog stick to initiate the climb. I literally had no idea that you could press the A button to do a fast pull-up onto the ledge. Now, eventually I put 2 and 2 together and started doing what I should have from the beginning. Press A to climb rather than using the stick. Now, these first 2 improvements alone, combined with a little bit more confidence in my movement, added up to a 3.5 second time save. Now, I know that doesn't sound significant, but just bear with me for a bit. The next 3 elements of the trick were the backflip onto the plank, the camera adjustment, and the punch. As far as I can tell, it doesn't matter when you do the camera change after flipping, so you might as well do it instantly, whereas before I thought for some reason I needed to wait, as if the 2 actions would conflict in some way. I also had the same apprehension with the punch, but I found out that you can basically do each of these instantly right after the other. You don't need to wait for Mario to land before you can make the camera adjustment, and you don't need the landing animation to finish before you initiate the punch. Now, doing 3 inputs essentially one after the other without delay is actually mechanically more simple than trying to time it. Being able to mentally combine these 3 elements into one more simple one gave me more mental cycles to already start thinking ahead to the rest of the setup. Now, as I said, the punch can be done instantly when landing, but what is extremely important is that you let the punch animation finish fully before initiating the ledge grab onto the plank. Moving Mario before this animation is over will almost always result in this setup failing. Now, when I first started, I would hit C right, wait until it finished moving the camera, then hit C left, wait until that finished, and then initiate the climb up and finish the trick. Now, this worked about 90-95% of the time, but it was also quite slow. Shout out to my new speedrunning buddy, Squeex. This guy's streams are a lot of fun, and I recommend you go hang out there. But his guide on Cannonless gave me one important nugget of information. You can hit C right, instantly press up to initiate the climb, and then instantly release up, doing the second camera adjustment as Mario's climbing. And as soon as possible, you want to get back on holding straight down on the stick, and the momentum will swing Mario running to the left. Coupled with the timing of the camera changes will make the trick, as far as I can tell, 100% successful if done correctly. As a quick side note, as I said before, Squeex' 16-star guide is a fantastic watch and I learned a bunch from it. But something significant here that I don't want to gloss over is that the part of the video that I learned something from when I was watching it for the second or third time months later was actually the same part of the video that originally caused me to subconsciously latch onto the incorrect idea that I needed to space out every single input without any sort of overlap between them.
So I'll show you. So we're going to do a backflip, left, left, punch, animation has to finish, down on the analog stick, C right, up, C left, down. And you're going to get the star every time.
Now, unbeknownst to me, I was mentally merging what I was hearing and what I was seeing, which isn't too unreasonable. The distinction between what was being done to explain, in this case pausing during the discussion, and what's shown to demonstrate how something should be done is unclear. Most of these tutorials tend to be monkey see, monkey do. So which aspects of what I'm seeing should I be focusing on trying to replicate when I do it myself, and which aspects are merely a byproduct of someone doing a live demonstration? Honestly, I find it really fascinating how even the same person at different levels of progression and understanding at different times can take significantly different things from the same excerpt of a tutorial. So much effort is put on emphasizing certain aspects as extremely important, and in the process, other things that may or may not be related or as important can get wrapped up in that if the people making the guides are not explicit or clear about the details. Now, comparing my old method to this new method of doing the same trick in whole looks a lot more like the old amateur versus pro comparisons from earlier. Fuck yeah. Along with more confidence, faster thinking, and improved muscle memory, not only did I fail this trick considerably less often, but when I succeeded, I saved more than 8 seconds on average. Now think about that. This was the first trick I was trying to optimize, and after a little bit of work, I was able to take off 8 seconds. If I could do something like this for each of the 16 stars, let's ignore all of the movement optimizations I could do in the castle between stars and things like Bowser levels, this adds up to over 2 minutes of time saved throughout the run. These are the kinds of optimizations people never emphasize. These are the things people ignore. All too often, new and intermediate runners think that the only way they can go faster is by learning completely new strategies to get new stars and new routes and all sorts of complicated, more advanced stuff. All it takes is a little bit of analysis and honesty, not to mention doing a simple comparison of your PB versus your sum of best, to see that this line of thinking is really not much different than this guy looking at this guy and saying, man, if only I had that car, I could be as fast as him. Now, let me briefly share some further optimizations and useful heuristics I developed in the first half of the run. When fighting the Whomp King and dealing the final death blow, the star that spawns originates where he dies, but no matter where this is, the star will always end up in the same spot relative to the tower, right here. You can save yourself some time by ensuring that your third ground pound is done right over this spot, and the star is going to float directly to you, requiring that you do nothing at all to collect it. When collecting the penguin in Cool Cool Mountain, I spent a considerable amount of time practicing 3 elements of this star that I had trouble with at different times in my progression. With careful control over the analog stick, holding neutral for most of the time while in the air using your momentum to carry you over the ledge, I was able to land up here reliably after triple jumping, which is obviously much better than bonking into the wall, falling into the chimney, and effectively killing the run, something that happened quite often. Once I learned a little bit more about how Mario behaves as he slides on ice, how landing on the flat area just near the tip of a slope here allows you to slide on it without wasting any time in the air, and how controlling the direction that he's facing relative to the direction of his slide will make Mario go much faster, this trick became a lot quicker and more reliable. I also learned the appropriate angle and direction for where I could do wall kicks for this star, using a specific texture on the wall as a guide to align myself correctly, which guaranteed that I would land directly on the star up top, which, coupled with the time saved from earlier, ended up saving me somewhere on average between 8 and 10 seconds in CCM. While watching some of the top 16 star runners live streaming their runs on Twitch, I picked up an optimized way of getting from the entrance to CCM to the entrance of Bowser in the Dark World, which was more reliable and faster than my older method. And now, into the Dark World. I could spend the next hour talking about Bowser in the Dark World, things like the arguments for and against doing Dark World Reds as a beginner or an intermediate runner, the different lines you can take and cycles you try to hit, the various aspects of RNG that it introduces into the run, but I'll spare you. I'll just say for now that I wholeheartedly believe that grinding this level as much as I did was the most significant contributor to my improvement speedrunning this game. There's just something so satisfying about the movement here. Nowhere else in the game has made me feel in such control, given me the confidence to go fast, or rewarded me for grinding it as much as Dark World. This level is where I finally understood the concept of cycles and timing and really pushed my use of every mechanic to the next level. It's my favorite stage in the whole game, and ironically enough, it's also my least favorite stage in the whole game as well. The amount of suffering and anguish that this level caused me can't simply be put into words. Nay, nothing short of a ballad will suffice. Hello, Dark World, my old friend. Another speedrun's come to end. I see my timer quickly fleeting on my way to Bowser yeeting. With precision, navigate this Bowser stage. Here comes the rage. When I ground pound instead of diving, this darkened world I walk alone, on my way to Bowser's throne, avoiding Goombas and the spinning amps. I'll hit Shigeru cycle like a champ. When I get too close to the flames made of red hot lights, my skin ignites. It's all because of poor timing. All my attempts that came before, 10,000 dead runs, maybe more. Reset and endlessly repeating. Just one more PB's all I'm seeking. Why is it so hard throwing this asshole through the air? Why do I care about this fucking floating island? The grind to shave the last 21 seconds off my PB to finally bring me under 20 minutes was about to hit another level entirely. It took me 400 runs to get a 2020. Let's just say after another 400 runs, I still had not met my goal. Perhaps I was in over my head. Am I going to be able to pull this off, or will I break under the pressure? Next time, on the final episode of my Super Mario 64 speedrunning saga.